Hey guys, it's Jennifer, and in today's video I'm going to be modelling this lamp. To start off with, this lamp is based off an actual lamp that I have in my bedroom, so the sizes should all be accurate. Another thing to note before starting this model is the fact that it's only a representation. It's not actually a fully accurate lamp. As you will probably notice, it does not have a bulb in it. It's comprised of two basic models, which will get put together in an assembly. This one here, which has a nice hole in it, so you can put the entrance of this lamp into it. So I'm going to start by using the new, millimeters.ipt, which you'll see in all my other videos, and you'll see in a minute as I open another part. So, you start the basic model on a revolve. So you may remember that you always start with a small line which gets turned into a centre line, otherwise it just simply does not work. Then you draw a line going down, and I've chosen to make it 120 millimeters long, or high rather, and then I'm going to draw a line reaching out by 76.5, as that was the dimension of my lamp in my room. Then I'm going to make the base of it 110 and then connect that up. To make it more kind of accurate looking, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from around here, draw 1 millimeter down, then all the way straight along. And the line should be completely straight, and there we go. Then from here, I'm going to go 1 millimeter in, and then at the same angle as the other one, I'm going to draw that line. As I go along, I'm going to be deleting these annoying dimensions because there's literally no point to them other than for show, and they just make it a pain when it comes to trimming. So, hence from that, you trim all the useless little lines that you don't need, like that, and this. There we go. So there we have the basic lampshade bit, and then from there, we're going to revolve. An update is that I got the new 2018 update, as my 2015 version was unsupported, which is why there's a delay in my videos. But yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to set up. Is that when you haven't set up before, you have to click the profile, which is the drawn out bit that we did a second ago, and then you have to click on this bit with the axis being that center line so that it works. Just to let you know. So you click OK, and then you've got this nice shape. So then what you do is you turn down so you can see the bottom sides of it, and then you click on the shell tool. You want to make sure it's 1 millimeter in thickness, and then you've got that, and it's nice and hollow. Before we go on to do the hollow bit on the top, I feel it's always a better method to start on the bottom and then work out how we're going to do this. So I think I made this 15 in diameter, if it wants to recognise that I'm typing. 15 diameter, which is there, because it's quite small and conspicuous and everything else. And then what I do is I extrude that out, and just so you can see it as it goes down, I'm going to make the distance. Why is it not working for me? I'm going to make the distance 300 potentially. Nah. Yeah, 300 works. There we go. So there we have that. So then on the top, we've got to draw another sketch. This is quite a complicated method, but it does look really good at the end, which I always think is worthwhile. So I'm going to make them 0.5. Oh, why is it cancelled? Well, goodness me. It's 0.5. And then you draw a straight line all the way up. So it's straight, and then to the edge. So escape then. So 0.5. The overall thickness of each one of these bits will be 1 millimeter, so that's why I'm doing 0.5 away from the very center line. Now this is another reason why I always have everything revolving around the center lines, because it just makes all these kind of models so simple to make, because you can literally just have everything snap off the center line, which, you know, is always helpful. There we go. Sometimes this part can be quite fiddly because things will want to snap elsewhere, as you might have just noticed there. But yeah, it'll eventually figure out how to make a straight line for you, which is always helpful. What you'll notice here, instead of having to do all the measurements again, you can just snap off this line and put it straight along. Because the more I practice this model, the more I notice these little efficient things that I can do with it. So there we have that. And then for this one, we do the same. It takes a little while to do, but you know, if you want a good score in your final assignment, it's always worth putting in just that little bit of effort that is necessary. Because I know I put hundreds of detailed models in my final assignment and I ended up getting an A from it. So it was clearly worth my time. Oh, there's another dimension, isn't there? Yeah, there is. So escape from that so I can get rid of that dimension. Right, then back to trim. Get rid of these. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that or that. Don't need that or that. Okay, so there we have these. Right. The next thing we need to do is create a big circle, just so that we can make this a let's try that again. A solid shape. So making sure that's all connected up. Yeah. So then we trim. Yeah, we trim that so that it makes these little segments all separate. And why has it gone and done that? Of course it would do that. Well, there's a simple fix to that. If it doesn't want to work, you can simply create an arc like this, and it does pretty much the same thing. So you do it from that point to that point there, and you just have it there, and that should be two separate lines. Finish. If this doesn't work, I'll be a little bit irritated because I'll be wondering what went wrong. So when you do this and it didn't work, great. Well, for now I'll just do these two sides, and then what you do is you subtract that, okay, and then I do it down 300 mils. If this happens to you, the only thing you can really do is try again, and that's the point I'll make in this video, is when these mistakes happen, and they do happen, it happened to me when I tried doing this video previously, you know, this kind of thing is like such a pain that comes with CAD modelling, but it's just overcoming that helps you become really good at making CAD models. So, you know, if at first it's all going horribly wrong, you know, it's really, you know, what can you do about that? Yeah, you can use that as a line still. But I hope that my showing you this will hopefully instill some confidence in, you know, she does have the patience for it when it does go horribly wrong, because things do go wrong, and I'm not going to hide that I make mistakes. It's completely normal for me to make mistakes when I make models, and sometimes the models that I make are completely improvised. Like, you will never see a more improvised model in your life when you see my final assignment, because I made hundreds of mistakes initially when I was modelling random things like water dispensers for, like, you know, office buildings and stuff. And yeah, it's just one of those things that you have to overcome. And then there's the dimension problem again, which is such a pain. But you just get over that quite quick. That's an easy one to overcome, is the dimensions. So that should work this time. If it doesn't, there is a problem. There we go. I knew it. There we go. And that goes to the same dimension, and there you have your lampshade. And then you'd save that. I've already got one saved, so I'll just use the same one again. So what I'll do is I'll just, so you know how to delete these, you just go that and you click delete, and then you just do that for all of them. And this is how you just basically delete anything to start fresh without having to open another one if you've already got a part saved. So for this model, for the base, which is this one here, you basically have the same kind of idea. You go in the XY plane, you draw the center line. Doesn't matter what size it is, because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be touching the model or be the full length of the model. So what I did for this one is I did a diameter of 30, and then I escape. Then I do a line down the centre of 160, because if it's any smaller it will just not accommodate for the full length of the lampshade. That's why I always make this part differently. So if you are planning on making this model and you're like, you know, I want to make it a different size, always model the shade first, because you've got to have it fitting into this part. So this part is, I'm using the arc tool, so I'll repeat this again just so you understand, because I initially, when I was learning how to do this, I had no clue how this worked. But what you do is you connect these 2 points here and you just bend them out. So depending on how big you want this to be, you know, you want it to be kind of smaller, so you don't want it to be too, you know, out there, but you want it out to about here, and that kind of does it for you. And then what you do is you just revolve that, and there you go. And then you've got this nice shape. Then to make the base, you refer back to the size of your circle. It was 15. So then what you do is you finish the sketch and then extrude, subtract, and then you make it, how big did I make it? I think I went 140 or something like that. 150 probably. Yeah, 150 works. So then you have that shape, right? So, yeah. So normally you'd save it. I've already got them prepared for me to use in an assembly, which you saw at where I got my assembled lamp. So I'll close that. I don't want to save. So then what you do is you click on New, and then you click on this bit. So you've got this assembly bit, okay, and you want to click on standard millimeter.iam and create, and you've got this screen. So today the main thing I'm going to be working with it on this one is place and the constrain tool, which you can see here, which is not highlighted as there's nothing on this assembly. So if I can find my saved parts, so I always put this one in first, because you always put the kind of the thing that's going to be kind of the base in first. So if you're going to create, say, a pen, you want to have the case of the pen in first. So then I'll place the lampshade into here. Right, and so you click on the constraint tool, because now it's all lit up. You'll notice all this kind of stuff is lit up. And then what you want to go is you want to go into the insert tool, and I go on aligned. and then what happens is you get this kind of bit, and you should see, and then you hover here and you'll see this kind of bit up here, and you click it and then apply, and there you have it. It should be in. Sometimes because it's quite an awkward shape, it can move about, so I tend to say not to touch it until you're in an external model. So if you're going to put it into an environment, just leave it like this more or less until you put it into the environment. And if you want to colour it, so to render it for, say, just, if let's say this was your final model for, you know, your assignment, it wouldn't be because it's not enough parts, but if let's say for argument's sake this was what it was and you wanted to render it, you know, you have to make them different coloured for rendering. So you can make this part cream and weird. The Inventor rendering is not fantastic, if I'm honest, but it can, you know, provide you with some, you know, interesting colours and things. So, and also if you're going to go on to use Keyshot or another rendering software like that, you need to make sure that each individual component is a different colour. Otherwise you're going to have everything the colour of glass, which isn't a colour, but you'll have it as the material glass or the material of some kind of alloy or something, because it just won't be able to define the difference between the models. It's very strange, but it's how it works. So yeah, so this is my little one that I made earlier in a Blue Peter style. This is what I made earlier. So yeah, so that's how you make a lampshade for a environment in your either your National 5 or higher. It depends. Really, you only ever need it for your hires, because that's when you only need to make environments. If you're in National 5 and you want to practice for your hires, give this a go. It's a start, and it also means that when you do eventually go on to do your hires, you've already got an arsenal of models that you can chuck into a room, which is always helpful. So yeah, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. If you want to see anything in particular, write in the comments below or in the discussion board in my channel. So yeah, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.